Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about Pat 2424's top cut finish at the regionals recently, and this was on October 14th. He played MirageGaogamon, and he placed 17th. So if you want to take us through your deck profile, what you did, what you want to change, and all that sort of stuff. Take it over to you.
Yeah, sure. So we'll start out with the eggs. Just play 4 Wanyas. Lets you draw a card when you have a blue tamer. You want to get your pieces, because there's not too much other search in the deck. After that, just play 4 of the Gaogamons. Gaogamon's great for searching. The inheritable does come up sometimes as well, where you can bounce level 3 if you have a blue tamer. So if the opponent's going really, really wide, it does come up. And then, not to mention, like, your only searcher for the deck for the level 3. So you do want that as 4 for now, so it does come up and it's very helpful. As well as also another one would be just 3 Vmons from BT11. This one, you're usually going to Digivolve in the back with it. You don't want to play it too much because it only searches a Vidramon in name and a blue tamer. If you are looking for the tamer specifically, you could play it. And there are some other Digimon with Vidramon in the deck, so you could hit a potential hit. But it's really useful for the inheritable because you are going to be playing blue tamers, so you can choke your opponent out or gain memory. So that is very useful. So that's why I play that at 3. Also playing 4 of the EX4 Gaomon. This one, really useful on play, lets you both draw a card for you and your opponent, which you want your opponent drawing cards anyways. Inheritable is even better whenever they would add a card to their hand on your turn, gain a memory. So you're going to be doing that a lot, so you really want that inheritable skill. Play 4 of that Gaomon. Then we'll go to level 4s. So level 4s, we're going to play 4 copies of Gaogamon from EX4. This Gaogamon also has the same inheritable as the Gaomon, which allows you to gain a memory when you would add a card to your opponent's hand, but also on Digivolve, being able to bounce a level 3 to the opponent's hand. So this comes up if, most of the times I would use that effect if my opponent plays like a level 3 for their search, bounce it back to their hand, make them reset. But then the inheritable is just even better. Then we play 3 copies of the BT13 Gaogamon. So this guy allows you to play a Thomas if you don't have one on the field already from its Digivolving. So that's really useful to get that early on in the game. Or sometimes if you just go to the burst mode, you can bounce it back to hand. Then if you have the level 3, you can Digivolve and bring out another Thomas for free from the same one. So it's really useful in that kind of method. And then the plus 1000 does come up if your opponent has 8 cards in their hand all turn. So sometimes if you're afraid you're going to hit something too big in security, the 1000 does come up. And then like a nice little tech with this is if you have the Vmon underneath it, if you do the effect, play the Thomas, you're essentially just Digivolving for 1 because you'll gain the 1 back because of the Vmon inheritable skill. Also play 1 Vidramon from BT11. Just 1. The inheritable does come up because the blue tamers you do play a lot. And sometimes if you do want to search, there are some occasions where I did want to search. So if I had him on the field and I had a Vmon as well underneath, I might play a Thomas, gain a memory, as well as draw an extra card. So if I'm playing BT4 Thomas, I would get 2 draws off of playing the Thomas, 1 from his effect and then also 1 from the Vidramon. So that does come up if you're searching pieces. Yeah, sometimes just drawing 2 instead of searching for 1 is even better. Also, 1 copy of Lanamon will be the last level 4 in the deck. Lanamon, just great hybrid. You're playing tamers, so you're just going to put a level 3 underneath, usually get jamming. And then there's also other ways of just giving this thing unblockable with a level 5 Gaogamon. But, it just sometimes just closes the game if they don't notice that you have a blue tamer, so just play that as 1. Now on to the level 5s. You have 2 copies of Mock Gao from BT11. So this guy will give you the boost of 2000 for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand. So it does come up, as well as giving it blocker till the end of your opponent's turn. So that's really good if you just want to hit something really big. Not to mention, it unsuspends on your opponent's turn for the inheritable skill. So you can if your opponent searches and they don't realize that, you can get a blocker for on their turn. And yeah, also just more aggro if you want to swing twice. That effect does come up. As well as 2 copies of Mock Gao from EX4. Only 2. I know some people would rather run 4 of these, but I did want to try other level 5s as well. But I might increase this one to like 3 in the future. But, well, with BT14, that's another story. But I could have switched this to 3. 2 is okay right now. It is really powerful being able to Digivolve and then bounce level 4 or lower to the opponent's hand. And then the 1 attacking skill is more viable because you miss timing on the other Mock Gaos usually. And this one, you're never going to miss timing with it when attacking if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand on suspend. So you're usually always going to be able to use that inheritable skill. Just great card. As well as 2 copies of BT13 Mock Gao. So this guy, as long as your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, he's the one that gives you the attack target can't be changed. So there is some times where it did come up in the regionals. Like one time my opponent, I was playing MirageGaogamon actually, had the MirageGaogamon, had a redirect and blocker, and I had Lanamon Digivolve, went into this mock, and was just able to go for game. Otherwise that would have stretched out way too long and I might not be able to win that game, but he just gave me the easy win with that. So really great card, as well as inheritable of just unsuspending when your opponent would add a card to their hand all turns. Really useful. And then to finish up the level 5, just 2 copies of Arrow V from the structure deck. This guy has jamming. It comes up if you want to get an attack, but the one thing that's kind of annoying is he doesn't have Gaogamon in his name, so you can, sometimes it's awkward, you can't trigger your Thomas with it, so you can't unsuspend, but the security attack +1 is really useful if you have 8 cards or more in your hand, and which you're usually going to have 8 cards or more in hand, so it's going to always come up. And that finishes up the level 5s, only playing 8. And then for level 6s, we play 5. First 4 are actually MirageGaogamon from BT11. You know, he's like the main boss monster in the deck. He'll let you gain memory for every 4 cards your opponent has, gain 1. It's really good at not allowing your opponent to do their searches, gain your memory off of it. Just a great card, you know. And yeah, it's a great card. Then also 1 copy of Mirage Gao from BT13. So I know some people are playing the other one that has unblockable, I believe, in BT14. I like playing this one because there is a lot of tamers in the meta, and being able to bounce a tamer. It also helps playing with the Vmon line, so you can gain your memory back after you play the Thomas because of all the Vmon inheritable skills. So it does come up a lot. And if this guy ends up like living on the board, your opponent just gives you more Thomases because you have them in your hand. And the evade does help. It does come up the evade. So if the opponent does try to delete it, you evade. And then you might be able to trigger an effect on suspend on your opponent's turn if they don't notice that. So then you can like evade twice in a turn if it comes up. But great card, great card. Then last Digimon is 3 copies of Mirage Gao Burst Mode. Burst Mode, you know, just finishes the games. You swing so many times with the effect. If your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, you return cards till they have 8 when attacking, and then you unsuspend. And then when Digivolving, you also get to return any Digimon to their hand. So that's really great, gaining the memory off of that for every 4. It just closes so many games because it works so well with Thomas. You know, just level 7, you got to play it. 3, I was playing it at 2, but I find that 3 is a little better, so you see it more often. 2, I wasn't seeing it, so I bumped it up to 3 to help out a lot. Now we're going to go to Tamers. First Tamer is 4 copies of Thomas from BT4. I was thinking of playing 3, but I find that this one just, you need to see it because it's easier to get out because it's only 3 costs, as well as since there's not so much search in the deck, just being able to draw a card is really useful, so you might get your piece from drawing. As well as when you do the burst mode and you want to add a card to your hand, you ideally want to activate this one, tap it first, and then add this one to hand, because if you add the memory setter, you might not have 4 memory to play a Thomas, because this one's way better situational to play it. And then you might be able to, you're probably going to be able to keep turn and then use it again, swing again. So that's why the 3 cost, I like it at 4 for now. And we also have 3 copies of the BT13 Thomas. The memory setter, also being able to draw a card when you attack with a Digimon with Gao in its name. Really good for adding cards to your opponent's hand so you can trigger Mirage's effects to gain memory. And yeah, just memory setter in general. So really great. And last tamer would be 1 copy of Nikolai. Nikolai is situational if you need jamming. And then you would also be able to gain a memory when you add a card to your opponent's hand during your turn. You'd be able to tap it to gain a memory. It's very situational if like you have to hit really big stuff, like if you're playing Royal Knights, which then play against any Royal Knights. But very situational, just the one of, that's all you really need. On to the options. 2 copies of Sorai from EX3, mainly for the Shine Greymon matchup. I did play 3 of them during the regionals. I lost to 1, but I beat 2 of them. Really great card against that matchup. You do need to have a few of them for that. Also pretty good against MirageGaogamon, because you can remove the chaoses and stuff and then bounce it. So it's really good in that matchup. You know what it does. You need it for the meta. Then the 1 of Ice Wall, you know what it does. Great card. Would play more, but just 1. And then 3 copies of Blue Memory Boost. Because there's not so much searching, I really just wanted to go more aggro, not so much, like I don't have any security bombs in the deck. I use my boss monster as like removal. So just try to get your pieces quickly, and if they hit in security, that's 2 memory for you, Blue Mem Boost. Yeah, and that's my deck.
All right, so I guess I just have kind of one big question. So as we know, the EX4 Mock Galga is getting hit November 17th. What would you replace for that one? It's down to 1.
Yeah, so since I am playing 2, I would have to remove 1. By that time, I would probably play more of the Zudamon that come out in BT14 by that time.
The Ace?
Yes, correct. I played the Zudamon Ace. Probably change the ratios up by probably playing 2 or 3 Zudamon Aces, and also just removing 1 or 2 of the other Gaogamons, the EX4, as well as, I believe it. Yeah, so I'd probably remove 1 BT13, and then also 1 BT11. And then I would have maybe only 7 level 5s because of the training boost cards. You might not even need 8 level 5s at that point.
All right, cool. So I guess, is there any final words you want to say about the deck? Something like, I know you mentioned that Shine, you played a lot of them at the regionals, but was there any other matchups that were challenging?
Yeah, there was one match that was very difficult. I ended up losing. It was against a Dorbrickmon. Against that deck, because they're able just to play the Dorbrick, the opponent always had it in his hand, just plays it, usually would destroy my Mirage. It was very awkward, like timing-wise, when I would have like promote and then go into my Mirage, that he always just had the answer to blow it up. So that one was like a really odd matchup. I don't really know how I could win from that, because I can just return Dorbrick back to his hand, and he could just play it out again. Of course, he loses the sources, but that he was able to like draw so many times off of Fireball that was a really tough matchup. Shine was, if I outplayed them, I can win, and if I find Sorai, I find that one is winnable. But yeah, those 2 were like the most difficult ones probably. The rest were pretty winnable, I would say that, not too much challenge. And there was 1 Black War Gray that I think my opponent just basically couldn't find their pieces at the end. So that one was pretty difficult, but I think I managed just because my opponent was bricking too much.
All right. Well, that brings an end to this deck profile. And any final words? Anything else you want to mention? Or
no, just that like the deck does get more powerful in BT14, so just stay with it, and I believe it'll just be even better the next deck coming out. So yeah.
All right. Well, this has been Team Casehunters with another hot deck profile, and we'll see you guys next time.